Welcome to Social We Media, straight talk about social multimedia. And I am really excited today because today I have my good friend with me, Warren Whitlock, and we're going to be talking a lot about Twitter because he has written a book called Twitter Revolution. So welcome, Warren. I am so happy to have you with me once again.
Always happy to help you and always happy to talk to you, Carmen.
What I love about you, because it's not just like that you're an author and that you're a speaker and you know a lot about social media. Well, one of the things I really do love about you is that you have a beautiful heart and you really do get what generosity means. You do like to be of service and you do have a heart that you do love to give to others. And I don't just mean like the pay it forward model. You really do know what it means to be of service in a bigger way than just giving to someone. You do know what it means to give someone a hand up, not a hand out. So I would love for you to share some of that part of you because I want people to get more of just you than just the author. I mean, a lot of people know of you in the social media circles, and we will get to social media because that is the show today. The show today is Social Media. I've had you on my other show where we did talk about your Billions Rising project, and we will touch a little bit on that. But I want people to get an essence of you, of the service of you, because I know you do a lot of that. So can you share with the public here, with the audience, a little bit of that side of you? Because I think that's very important for people to get to know that side of you.
Okay, well, it's pretty simple. I mean, I look at life as a good chance to be of service to others. And everything about life is either the connections you make with people and relationships, and the other thing is the stories. What happens to you and what you share with other people. That's it. That sums up just about everything. That's family life, that's business, that's careers, that's, what's fun. It's being with people. And you build those stories based on that. So you think about it, it's cyclical. I have a story of how I got here. You have a story of how you got here. Because we're here together, we're creating a story, and that's what makes the connection. That's, and so that's everything. And when you think about not being able to serve others, you're just not enlightened. We'll put it that way, because certainly all of us are born, needy and wow, come look at me, I need help, and become self-aware and figure out that manipulating other people to do for you is a good thing, but in any amount of growth, in any of everything from wisdom literature to, I got mine from the Bible, but from however you look at any spiritual look at life, you go like, wait a minute, life's nothing without other people and serving other people. And once you figure that equation, the more you serve, the better life is, and it's a lot of fun. So why would I limit how much fun I can have?
And that's what I love about you. What most people don't know is I met Warren, over a year ago when I was first doing my interviews for Paying It Forward, the Ripple Effect. And so I interviewed Warren. That was the first time I interviewed Warren, was for the Paying It Forward, the Ripple Effect. And so I knew he had a big heart. And then I interviewed him on my Conscious Collaboration show, and we talked more about business and his Billion Risings project. And then, of course, I always knew him in the Twitter world and social media world, and so now we are here today to discuss Twitter because we're on the Social Media show. So let's go into a little bit of the social media world. Not a little bit, because you and I both love social media. So let's get into the meat of that. So you've actually written 2 books. I have Profitable Social Media. You've written obviously Twitter Revolution with Deborah, and I don't know how to pronounce her last name properly. Mick, okay, yeah. And obviously you. So can you actually give us a little synopsis of both books? Let's start with Profitable Social Media.
Well, Profitable Social Media is a book we wrote when people were asking back in 2009, 2010. It was a very common thing to say, yeah, I see you doing all this, but where's the ROI on it? What's the business? I don't want to play games. I don't want to see who can follow me and what they do, and I don't care what somebody else had for breakfast. I just want to know how to make some money off of it. So we wrote it to the business person. And at the time we were saying we wrote it for the people who hadn't got around to social media. Still, that's today. There's plenty of people like that who say, I want to do this, but I really just don't have the time. Where do you find the time? And it's fascinating. I talk to people who are big-time networkers, salesmen, people that are looking for people to hire and haven't used LinkedIn. Still, there's a giant part of the adult population who thinks of, while they may have delved into the Facebook profile or using Twitter for their personal life, haven't figured out that these are just fantastic business tool. That's what we wrote that for. And, you know, when we wrote Twitter Revolution, we were talking about the social media revolution, the change with mobile and social media as the tools, but really what the fundamental change about business was that was coming on. The reason we called it Twitter Revolution because back in 2008 we thought Twitter was going to be big, and so there was no other Twitter book, so that's why it's called Twitter Revolution. And 2009, the Tehran uprising got called Twitter Revolution. So you do a Google search on Twitter Revolution, you'll find a lot of things now. We're back on about page 6, but we used to be the only people talking about Twitter Revolution. And I'm really glad that it's had that thing. We didn't, you know, we don't own the name. They didn't steal it from us or anything like that. Just it was a natural thing to call what was going on with the revolutions. But the business revolution is just, that's really intrigues me, is that people are realizing that business is people. And, you know, so it's not media. I love getting asked, like, which is better, Facebook or Twitter? Well, which one is the person you want to talk to on? Where is your customer, and how can you listen to them? It has nothing to do with what the channel is, or, you know, how many tweets a day you're supposed to do, or anything like that. It's people connecting with people. As I said, connections and stories. That's all we have.
And I like that you said that, because that's what people aren't getting. Social media, and that's why I say social media. Mm-hmm. What people need to understand is, and that's why I'm not a huge fan about automation, we seek human interaction, social interaction. We're social beings. We crave interaction with beings. So as you said, it doesn't matter if it's Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Facebook, wherever it is. If your friends are if your friends prefer Twitter, then so be it. Be on Twitter more. If more of your friends are on Facebook, then great. Go to Facebook. Wherever your friends choose to be more in communication with you, go there. Yeah. However, like you said, your clients, your customers, wherever they are more engaging, go there. I find that more business tends to happen, at least business to business tends to be more on LinkedIn. However, like you and I have had previous conversations, I find that Twitter is great for in the moment. You know, I'll take my phone out. You know, I'm gonna tweet in the moment when I'm at a restaurant, or I'm standing in line for a movie, or I'm doing like a really, you know, fun little kind of review on something. I am gonna do a Twitter, because that to me is more in the moment. I'm not gonna do an in the moment thing on Facebook. It's just not, to me, an in the moment thing. So I find Twitter to be what I use for in the moment kind of chit chat. And I don't know. I don't find Google to be more of the warm, fuzzy kind of conversations. Now, I love Google for this. I love doing Google Hangouts. I think that is a great, it's been a great tool. I do like Skype for some of more of the professional interviews, although, I don't know, I really do like these Google Hangouts. They've been really a lot of fun. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, do you find Twitter to be more in the moment, and LinkedIn more business to business?
You're listing off channels and media and software, and frankly, I've stopped caring. Yeah. I keep track of where my people are. And you mentioned friends, and yeah, I have a lot of friends. And in fact, I consider most of the people I do business with to be friends. But when I'm if I have a project and a client wants to get out, he wants to make sure a message is out. Let's say he's got a new website, and he wants to make sure that it gets known. We start off by saying, who are the people that are going to talk about this, that are going to spread this? Who will this help? And we get back to the basics of business. How is this going to help somebody? And then if somebody comes to your new website and registers and buys something, what kind of person are they, and who's the best at that? And what are they looking for when we find it? Might be search, might be email, it might be a cardboard sign outside of the front of the building. I doubt it, but that's always possible. And once you figure out who the people are, then how do you reach them? If I look at my Rolodex, and it's certainly it's where I put a lot of work right now at improving this is that if I want to know where to talk to you, reach out to you in your vast audience, I don't know where to go. The address book doesn't tell me. I look you up and it tells me. Now I know what you currently like because you just told us. But if it was tomorrow or yesterday, I'd have trouble remembering what all that is. Well, yeah, we've done a Google Hangout. Let's see, I've been interviewed by Skype with you. I've also physically gone someplace where a camera was set up and you interviewed me. Which is the one that you prefer? It depends day to day. What I know is consistent is you, and that's what I'm trying to
yeah,
look
here's
for.
the interesting part.
Are.
You'll find this quite fascinating. So my shows right now are getting 2,000 views a week on up. And
right.
what's and you got to remember that's because I do my work. As you know, I create the video format of this, and then I pull the voice, and then I create a podcast from this, and then I actually upload it to various different podcast services. And I just got some really cool news that a podcast service likes the podcast so well, they're actually now, it's been syndicated and is going to iHeartRadio. Anyways, a lot of cool things are happening. And so, I've done my homework.
When you want to reach a person, do you produce a show to reach that person?
Well, it's what I have found is how I've learned to reach my demographic is that I get a lot of inboxes. I get a lot of feedback. I get inboxes on Facebook. I get inboxes on my normal email. And those people are telling me, we want to hear more about, we love your social media shows. We love your fuzzy, warm, your shows about mind, body, spirit. We love hearing from your speakers. And and I'm always encouraging them to tell me, what do you want to hear about? What subjects are reaching out to you, and they'll actually tell me, and so then I will actually go find people to talk to about those specific subjects. Like, for example, a lot of people know that I have a very deep metaphysical side, so that's why I created the new show that's called Conscious Co-Creation, so I can go more into that deep metaphysical side. However, however, I can't always do that with, you got to remember, that's why I have 4 shows, so I can reach the different levels of consciousness. I can't talk. Like with you, I can go there because I know that you have a deep faith about you. Now, I can't do that with everybody.
So
not everybody
when I want to reach,
that.
I've been helping with Think and Grow Rich movies in the last few weeks, and when I wanted people to know about that, sure, I love to tell my friends, and it's a helping thing. I'm not, it's not a professional campaign that I'm putting together, somebody else's campaign. And so, I'm not going to produce webinars. And we had somebody on a radio show, and we talked about it for that audience. But the truth is, if I really want to reach those people, I start to do the research. Where are those people already? Because Think and Grow Rich is a great example, because there are people who have read Think and Grow Rich, 60 million of them. So we're 60 million copies sold. Who knows how many have read the book? And they're having conversations. They're doing their thing. They're talking about like subjects. So I go to where those people are and I talk to them. Doesn't matter about the platform. It does matter who the person is, though, is when I find that a person has an audience, is an influencer, is there somebody that will help me get the word out, then I want to go find them, and I want to find out what they're talking about and help them along the way. I certainly don't want to drop in and say, hi, heard you like Think and Grow Rich. Go to Indiegogo and support the movie. That's a sales pitch. I avoid that. I go there and I find out that they really care about masterminds. And so I get into the discussion about masterminds, and then I said, you probably would like this, and I give them a link to that. In other words, the conversation goes where the listener is, instead of trying to come up with a plan to blast it out to everybody. And I think that's the difference between social and media. And social media is somewhat of a misnomer. I think it's the first step in us becoming more social, more individualized, specialized content. We're having conversations with people.
Now, you just mentioned Think and Grow Rich. Have you been in contact with Tom Cunningham?
Nope.
Ooh, I gotta give you his contact. He is like one of the top speakers on Think and Grow Rich, and
Yeah.
he just interviewed me on his show. Well, actually, one of his associates did on the Journey to Success, and he has a
Cool.
whole organization of people that are all. Yeah, I'll have to
See,
send
I'm serving Think and Grow Rich without even trying here. No, I
Yeah,
know it's so prevalent. In fact, the best story about that is that they set it up. Here's what's happening. They've got Napoleon Hill Foundation and Stephen Simon, the
right.
producer, have decided to produce these movies. And instead of going the normal route to get the funding, which these guys certainly could, they decide to have a Kickstarter campaign. And just before they were ready to launch it, Indiegogo comes and says, "We really want this because the principal, the CEO of Indiegogo says, because the principals in Think and Grow Rich have helped me so much, I want to be involved with this." And so when you're doing the right kind of thing and you're headed in the right direction, unseen powers come into play, and you wind up with things. And I find out about how I need to be in contact with Mr. Cunningham. And the funny thing is, it's not my first Think and Grow Rich project. I worked in 2006 on a book called The New Think and Grow Rich by Ted Ciuba, and many offshoots of that. Met all sorts of people. Met the people that were then getting into The Secret, and then it was a whole other group of people. And there's so many people that are influenced by this that there's no sense looking at it as a competition anymore. It's a collaboration.
Exactly. So anyways, I just inboxed you on Facebook. So that's what, see, I know, here's the thing. Why I love Facebook is, let's say I'm doing a Google Hangout. A lot of times when I'm going to go cut and paste a Google Hangout link, by the time I send it to their normal email, it takes a really long time, versus if I just inbox it in Facebook, it's boom, it's right there. So there's certain things I love Facebook for because it's really fast. It's like right there in the moment.
If you're connected with the person on Facebook, that's fantastic.
Exactly. So that's the thing. I mean, I think there's it's like Twitter. The Twitter for me in the moment text is
nothing but text. I tell them, like, well, you'd really like Twitter if you knew what it did, because to me, I call SMS
cut and paste it. I could cut and paste a Google Hangout into a direct. I could do that into a direct text into Twitter. I could do that.
Right. You could also print it out and fax it to somebody.
Oh, now that's a lot of work. I'm not doing that.
No,
come on.
If it was the right person.
Yes.
I'll tell you,
now, speakers, I do it very differently. Speakers, I don't do a Facebook inbox. I mean, it just depends what level here,
Exactly what I've been trying to say is that it's about getting to the person, not about what channel it is. I prefer to use Facebook email for almost everything. But the truth is, almost everybody I talk to on Gmail.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you a caveat here, though. I've heard stories. I always tell people if it's something that's really personal, or I would say non-disclosure-ish, don't use Facebook inboxes, because I've heard stories where they were sending an email to Bob and it went to Sue. So if it's anything that is, and
I'll go one further. Don't put anything you want to remain secret. Don't type into your computer. The NSA is watching.
I'm not worried about that. Oh my God. Okay, so if Big Brother stuff, you know what? I don't care. They're going to be watching it anyway. So if it's Big Brother stuff I'm worried about, I don't care. That is like.
Actually, you're describing exactly why I don't use direct message on Twitter. Because back when I started,
although that I don't,
more than once sent somebody a private message and it appeared on their
disclosure liability time. No, seriously, I don't do any direct messages. That is one reason why I do not do any direct messages on Twitter at all. None. I never do that, and I don't do anything.
I've never had a drink in my life, but I send plenty of sleep tweets.
Okay, we're doing liability clauses.
I'm taking a nap right now.
Okay, Warren and I have a non-disclosure agreement, everybody. We also have, and at the end of every show, by the way, I have non-disclosure agreements. Like literally typed in every description box. I do not tell the guests, I do not tell Warren what to say. I do not tell my guests what to say. They have their own voice boxes. They have their own opinions. You know? So, all right, Warren, getting back to some serious business here. Give people some true, hard tips here about what they can do with Twitter. Seriously. Like you wrote a book about profitability. How can people use Twitter to get some clients that will actually help their ROI, which, by the way, for people who don't know what ROI means, it means return on investment.
Right. First of all, if the return on investment is like almost infinite when you can send somebody a tweet and get something done really fast. But the point is deciding that you're going to try advertising on Twitter as a way to find out whether or not it'll work. Forget it. It's a waste of time. I've tried it. Many have. And you know, over the years, that's when I started out. I was just like everybody else. The first thing on Twitter is somebody looks at it and says, "What do I care what somebody else is having for lunch?" The second step is, how do I monetize this? And the third step is, how did I ever live without this? Because when you start finding out the information in real time that's out there, you talked about being able to send a tweet any place, anytime. More importantly, it's true all over the world. Latest example, just from yesterday, my friend Robert Scoble flew to Australia. When he gets off the plane in Australia, he's getting his luggage, and his Google Glass tells him what the current tweets are, what the trending topics are on the topics he cares about. Happened to be that Amazon bought the Washington Post yesterday. And then he had somebody contact him and said, "Here's some breaking news you probably missed while you were on the plane." And however that was, I don't recall whether it was a call, text, whatever, he laughed because he'd already read several tweets about it. What's going on in real time is right there. If it's some kind of, you know, big crisis, who bothers with the news? If you can, I know if there's an earthquake or if a plane crash or somebody wins a presidential election, I'm going to find out about it on Twitter. I don't try. When I want to find out something about business, it really depends on what I'm trying to do. But for the most part, if I want to find out what people need that I can fill, then I'm going to go with the keywords they're searching for. Same as I would on Google. The difference is in a Twitter search, you're going to get people that's talked about it right now. My favorite example is sushi in Cincinnati. And if I want to if I want to recommend the best place to get sushi in Cincinnati, I don't need to. I've never been to Cincinnati, and I don't really like sushi. So, but I can type in sushi Cincinnati, and I will get a list of recommendations. This is not me asking the question and waiting for an answer. This is typing it into the search box. You can get directly to it at search.twitter.com. The search box that appears on all the Twitter pages is pretty good. And you want to check out the advanced search, which is just as good as any Google search there is. There's some other services that combine Google and that and allow you to get a feed of answers and things and whatnot. The other trick I'd add on to there is a space and a question mark. Advanced search has the ability to check off that you want questions. Then you can find people who are looking for sushi in Cincinnati. Well, if I had a sushi restaurant in Cincinnati, I'd probably be asking you to kill me. But end it now. But if I was stuck with a sushi restaurant in Cincinnati and I wanted to find who was looking for one, I'd go on there and I'd answer the question. So, and here's the advanced part of that. Instead of looking for people that are looking for whatever business you're in, I'm a dry cleaner. I need to find somebody who's trying to get a stain out. Instead of doing that, go ahead and just help other people. Because what really happens is, with the 500 million people that are on Twitter, there's somebody searching, looking for help. Somebody knows you or knows somebody that you're having a conversation with. They realize you're a helpful person, and that's really what we want. Remember, we want connections. We want to share stories. And if I don't want the best price on sushi in Cincinnati, I want to know where my friend's eating sushi in Cincinnati. And to tell you the truth, that's the only way you'd get me into a sushi restaurant. If a friend's having sushi and I can go and talk to them. And because that's what people really crave, is that human connection. There's no place to get it faster and more real time than Twitter.
So now here's the question though. Okay, so I love the app Foursquare. And so when I'm at a place where the restaurant is really good, I will actually leave a tip on Foursquare and say the food here is really awesome, the customer service here is really awesome, and I tweet that. So
Okay.
now when people do search, that'll come up and say, hey, okay, this restaurant is really good. So I think that is one way people can get that. And, so I think there's some apps that are really good for that. Where, for example, Foursquare. I think Foursquare is a really good app for that, especially for restaurants, stores, so that when you do check in, you can leave the tip and saying what the customer service is like. You can
Sure.
leave your favorite dishes, what foods are really good. I think that's a great one because you can
Yeah.
actually take pictures. I've taken pictures of some amazing dishes. And that way, and also you can get, by the way, coupons, discounts, because you've checked in at these restaurants numerous
Mhm.
times. So I think that's a great tool. Speaking of which, are there any particular Twitter apps that you absolutely love that are enhancements for Twitter?
Twitter.com and the Twitter applications that I use on iOS devices are great today. I use many other applications.
Name some of those. That's what I'm asking you. So what are some of the
But it depends
Twitter
on
apps
what
you use?
it depends on what you're trying to do. I get a whole lot of people writing to me that I need to reply to, and I use Plugio for that because it looks the most like there's one column of nothing but the people that are writing to me, and I answer them on that.
Okay, can you say that
I use
again? What is that?
Twitter.com
Wait,
as
wait, wait,
much
wait.
as anything.
Warren, stop. Can you say what that is again?
Plugio, Plugg.io.
Got it. Okay.
And on the iPhone, most likely I'm using Tweetbot. That's Tweetbot.
Okay, I've heard of that
And
one too.
yeah, they're not getting any better results for selling anything. It's just what I like to use and like to type on. So the main thing I'm looking for is where are the people having the conversation about things I care about what my customers care about, or in general, where can I help other people? Because I want people who say, gosh, you're selling tires, but you were so helpful with that person who asked a question about where to find a good Italian restaurant in your town, that I think you're the kind of person I want to do business with. We really crave that human connection. So discounts and being ubiquitous and blasting out a lot of things are nice. I'm not saying not to do them, but we crave that human connection. So if I check into Foursquare, which I have, I think, 2,700 times, I don't know, maybe 40, whatever, thousands of times.
You've checked it thousands of times. I've seen it.
I have almost never had anybody of any kind of management ownership position talk to me. I checked into a Walgreens once, and they had a bot that offered me a discount on cough syrup or cough lozenges, one of the two, something for a cough. Happened to be in January, but I was healthy. I didn't need it. And I think I buy candles at Walgreens usually. But whatever reason, I've checked in at a Walgreens. Maybe I was at the place next door and checked in at Walgreens by mistake. But for whatever reason, that came up. And so I tweeted that it didn't make sense. I don't have a cough. How did you know I was getting sick? Do you know something I don't? Are you spreading a virus inside Walgreens? Some kind of silly comment like that. Walgreens was offended. So then in the next 2 hours, I was with a friend, and so we were actually on the Strip in Las Vegas, which turns out there's 3 or 4 Walgreens we passed. And so we checked in at all of them, took pictures, and let Walgreens know, we love you, Walgreens. I mean, I have nothing against Walgreens, but I thought the idea of auto-tweeting a cough syrup discount was ridiculous. And I ended up engaging with the head of the agency that did that, who wanted to defend his practice. And that's the point. He didn't make any friends by attacking me, or an enemy in my case. But if I was a Walgreens customer who cared about that, I'd never go back to Walgreens. There's CVS, there's someplace else I could go to, and instead. He could have just said, "Thank you. That's an interesting idea. Thanks so much." But he wanted to convince me he understood Twitter marketing better than me, and that and they were getting a good ROI on it, And I'm going like, I don't care how many cough drops you're selling. If I hate Walgreens, that's for life. And full disclosure, I do not hate Walgreens. That's a true example. That's what happened. And but here's the funny thing: out of the thousands of times I've checked into Foursquare, that happened because it was an auto tweet. I went to the Firehouse Subs, and I don't like pickles, and they're big on pickles, and so I ordered no pickle, and they put a pickle on the tray. No big deal, but a funny thing to take a picture of because I was there by myself and had nothing better to do. So I tweeted that this is what I got when I ordered no pickles. And somebody from Firehouse Subs contacted me, offered me a free sandwich. I didn't need a free sandwich. I was glad somebody saw it. And now I'm careful when I go to Firehouse, one of my favorite places. I go there, I ordered a sandwich, and I say no pickle, and I check the printout to make sure it says no pickle, and I know it's going to be fine. I always order the same thing. I'm an exciting guy, full of variety of ordering the same thing over and over again. Always no pickle, and there it is. And so those are two examples I can think of. Funny thing is, I go to pizza place where the owner is taking the order. I check in. I even tell him. The first time I did, I was like shocked. This was a yogurt place. I actually stopped because at the time I was into playing the Foursquare game. It was new, and I was trying to see how many check-ins I could get. And I was driving down the road. I saw a frozen yogurt and going like, I don't really need a frozen yogurt, but it's always time for frozen yogurt. So I went in. It was me and the owner of the place. Total. That's all that's there. And I said, and I checked in. And I mentioned that to him, no big deal. Next time I went there, I said, hey, I'm the mayor of this frozen yogurt place. And he totally ignored me. And I thought, well, that's normal. It was 2009, 2010 maybe. The Foursquare was new. I wasn't expecting big recognition, balloons come down, anything like that. But I expect the guy to say, mayor? Why are you mayor of my establishment? So now in Las Vegas, in suburban Las Vegas, where I live it happens in Vegas, it stays in there because it's boring stuff like sandwiches and frozen yogurt. I check in all the time at supermarkets, at whatever, and nobody knows. I hold that in the future, when you walk into your neighborhood grocery store and you're one of the top 50 or 100 customers that go there every week, the manager will know you are in the store and will be allowed to come and greet you personally. And
actually,
that's all I want.
Actually, I've gotten some really awesome tweets from places I check in. I check in some regular restaurants, and I've gotten tweets back from the managers of Bed Bath & Beyond. They actually know me there because I go there so often, and I've actually left some really cool comments about their staff here at the Thousand Oaks Bed Bath & Beyond. They're like, really? Which one did you go to? They want to know specifically which one I went to. There's another organic restaurant I go to, and whenever I go now, they're like, "Oh, so happy you were back." And I've gotten some really cool tweets back from people at places that I've gone to, and now they'll actually mention my name. Yeah. I've got some really cool tweets back from
well,
some
it
places.
might be me being antisocial outside of social media, and I go out to eat by myself on a fairly regular basis. Go and get breakfast at some place. There's a couple of places that I just totally love. I doubt they know my name. They know it's me. They recognize me. It's that guy that always orders the same thing. And they smile and they even greet me. And I'm sure if I took the time to introduce myself or we hung out much at all, it'd be fine. But, they have no clue that I'm checking in and telling, 100,000 people that I'm there.
I drive my friends
crazy.
Crazy. They're like, "You're checking in?" I go, "Yeah, I'm checking us in." Because I'm always getting discounts, and I'm always taking, because I love organic food, and my friends are like, I'm taking crazy pictures, and I'm always out and taking pictures of flowers, and they're just like, oh God.
Well, right now, if you go to a grocery store, a supermarket, let's say, even a Walmart, let's go super big. Walmart, right now there's an app on my iPhone that will tell me which part of the store I'm in. It's not a Walmart app, but Walmart's big enough, so that's why I'm using it as an example. not only will use GPS to tell me I'm in the store, it'll know what part of the store I'm in. And Walmart, of course, is tracking all sorts of stuff like that and working on whatever it is. They haven't quite tied into my phone yet. But that Walmart store is a great example. They have their 50 best customers. It has to exist someplace. And I'm wondering now. I've been that in some places. One time I had a big family and I went to the same supermarket every week. We spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars there, and over the years for a long time, even got to know the cashiers and whatnot. Can't remember ever having anybody say,
"Woohoo! Warren was here. Woohoo! Warren was here."
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. What I'm saying is it doesn't happen near as often as it could. So if you're looking at a way to build your business, start interacting with the people that talk and tweet about your business. Your examples are fantastic. They like you. You're a good customer. Again, your vast audience. It's out there. There are people you reach, and my vast audience knows that I like to take pictures of gas pumps. And I get replies every single time that I'm buying gas at the Sam's, and I take another stupid picture of half of my face and my car and the gas pump, trying to be artistic and try something new. And somebody will say something, and like, do you own stock in that company? Why are you always buying gas there? Well, it's the closest place to my house, and they have cheap gas. Why would I not buy gas there?
Another flower picture from Carly. Another flower love on Twitter. Flower love, flower love, flower love. Another flower love from Carly.
And people see that. Here's what I've also learned is that if I get 10 replies to a tweet, that means that 1,000 people saw it. Are those 1,000 people the ones that are going to go to the same pizza place I went to last week? Probably not. But if that pizza, turn it around. If I was the pizza guy and somebody came in and checked in, I'd surely know about it, and I'd go after saying hi to them. So when we're talking about, building whatever platform on social media and everything, that's all nice, but just find out what your people are doing and be nice to them. And I say listen and love is the marketing plan. You listen to your customers, which means you listen to Twitter, you listen to Facebook, you have Google alerts, whatever you can to try to find out what your customers are talking about. And when you find out, and if somebody comes in and they're planning a party for 10 people, that means they have friends. And then go look them up on LinkedIn or Facebook and find out that, oh, that's the bank manager. He must know a lot of people in town. Let me be nice to him. It doesn't mean, hey, why don't you tell all your banking customers to come over here and I'll give them a $5 discount. No, it means you say, hello, bank manager, and you get to know them, or you find out what can help them. And if you do that, some very, very little things, next thing you know, you'll have people coming out of the woodwork because the person that referred the guy with the party for 50 or the catering job or whatever it is that is your big thing in your restaurant, those people all came because they were referred by somebody. And you don't know it. Twitter now allows us to see a lot more of those. We're not seeing but, a little tiny part of a percentage of the deals that are happening. We don't see the conversations going on at the water cooler, private phone calls. Well, the NSA does, but we don't see two neighbors talking in the yard, people at a PTA meeting, watching the kids' soccer game. That's where decisions are made. We do see when they talk to their friends online, and so use that and expect that the ability to do that is just going to go up. And right now, you're right. Put out a discount, try some things like that, because there's not much else you can do right now.
One last question I want to ask you about. What is your thoughts? I mean, I've heard divided on this. Some people hate Twitter chats because they move so damn fast. And I think for a lot of people that are visual, it's very hard because they are moving so fast. And so do you like Twitter chats? What is your thoughts on Twitter chats?
Well, I love Twitter chats because it's a bunch of like people getting together. I don't enjoy going to a Twitter chat to find somebody to talk to because I log into Twitter and there are plenty of people that want to talk to me. So that's not a fair assessment. I held Twitter chats when we started writing the Twitter book back in 2008. We had a radio show. It was every week, and we had a live chat on it, and we tried using Twitter instead. We actually had the show because we tried asking people on Twitter if they had something to contribute as an idea for what we should write about in the book, and we just got lost. So then we tried to focus in on a time and do that. The people who enjoy chats look forward to putting that on their calendar and doing that. And the first 2 words of our Twitter book ended up being "no rules" in all caps. And you'll see that as a hashtag once in a while. I use it. For that matter, I didn't like hashtags when they came out. But, you know, and hashtags are big. People love them. Use hashtags. That's why I use them. And a Twitter chat is just a hashtag. And so lately I've been using a tool called OneCube, which I think is off the market, due to be back on any day. They bought tweetchat.com and integrated in what they were doing. They have things like places to take notes, ranking of who talks the most in the chat, or any hashtag, and to find out where the conversations really go. And there are conversation leaders. I tweet fast enough that if I get into a chat, I'm going to overwhelm it. You know, like the guest tweet. I saw the stat when I was using OneCube. It says in the last 15 minutes, there are 2 co-hosts, and they each went 12 and 13 times. The guest went 11 times, and Warren went 16 times. And so I looked at that, and I learned I don't belong in a tweet chat trying to get my message out or talking to people, because you know, I move fast on that kind of thing. What I do now is drive-bys. If there's a tweet chat and it's people I'm interested in, I go and check it out. I see what they're talking about. I maybe make a comment. It's nice to have a big following, because some of the stats on those things, especially if they have sponsors, make them look good, because I do that. But frankly, it's just people talking. It's like, if you have a telephone, some people do chats with a party line and get together and do that. And some people have teleseminars. And some people do big broadcasts, which became now hangouts and webinars. But, you know, there's different ways to use the same medium. You know, we could Skype one-on-one. We're just 2 of us here. You Skype now, you can put more people on a Skype call. Mm-hmm. I get into all sorts of problems about what can be recorded. That's a technical issue. But as far as reaching the people, like, just go where they are and talk to them. And if you're looking for people to talk to and there's this chat on it, go do it. You know, and again, like everything else, no rules. If it works for you, do it. Even if you spam Twitter and it works, more power to you. Go right ahead. I met the guy that invented one type of spam one time. He made some money off of a lot of unsuspecting people tweeting on links. Clicking on links in his tweets. And, you know, and I had to tell him face to face I hated him, but at the same time, gosh, he had a great story to tell. You know, we sat down and learned about what he had done and how he had engineered it. He was about trying to scrape off as much money as he could, as fast as he could, and then get out of it. If you're in it for the long haul, spamming doesn't make sense in any medium.
Well, it's the same thing as buying followers. If you're spamming people, you're going to get a bad name. If you're buying fake followers, people are going to find out, and you're going to get a bad name.
Well,
don't do it.
There is
Just
one number that really
it.
matters. The one number that really matters on Twitter.
Exactly. Right.
I'm talking to you right now.
Exactly.
I'm not checking my email. I'm not tweeting. I don't buy into the myth of multitasking. I know, you know, women can fake it a lot better than men on a number of things, but particularly on multitasking. But you know, the truth is, our brains focus on one thing at a time. I want to focus on one person, give you my attention, and then when this is over, I move on to the next thing. Now, that may be a tweet, and it may only be 2 seconds with the person, but I'm going to give them my individualized attention, and sometimes it's just saying thank you.
Exactly.
I'm so glad Warren followed me. Like, you know, I'm thinking personally, like, why? But I thank them publicly. You know, so, and then I try to have a conversation. When somebody says, "What do you use Twitter for most?" I go, "I use it for conversations." It's like saying, "What do you use the phone for most?" Do you have a phone in your business? Of course I do. I have a phone, and I'm allowed to get email here and mail and Facebook and everything because I want to connect with the world, because the world is where I want to do business. The idea of having to walk door to door and knock knock on doors and cold call to get business is ridiculous. I want to find the people who are already looking for me. No matter what your business, there are more people on the planet connected in the 3-4 billion people that are connected through cell phones and internet, that they're out there looking for something. Be easy to find and then engage them, and they'll start telling their friends.
Exactly. Well, Warren, as usual, it's been an absolute delight having you. However, our time has come to an end, and
No.
I want everyone to know where they can find you. So, Warren, can you let everyone know where they can find you?
Well, in hindsight, it would have been really nice if I had put up my name over my picture here.
I know, me and you, normally both of us have our lower thirds, except we got,
Sure. Well, I didn't have the lower third, so we'll fix it in post.
Yeah, well, of course it will. Well, obviously, as you know, we'll have the whole graphics and everything anyway. So there'll be graphics in the front end, there'll be graphics in the back end.
I'm my name most anywhere,
Yeah,
Google
this is
me,
Warren Whitlock, WarrenWhitlock.com, and I am Carly Alyssa Thorne at CarlyAlyssaThorne.com, and there will be front end graphics and back end graphics, and this is actually my fault because I was at the airport earlier, and so we started later than we normally do, and me and him got all caught up in conversation saying hello, and so we forgot our lower thirds. However, no worries.
If you think I was the worst guest ever, go ahead and tell me. You can thank me if you want.
Yes,
I love being thanked. But
as usual,
really,
everybody, I love your feedback. If there's anything that you'd like to hear about, please let us know. And you've been listening to Social Media, straight talk about social multimedia, with my wonderful guest that I absolutely love to banter with, Warren Whitlock. And also on Twitter, you can find him at Warren Whitlock at WarrenWhitlock.com. And this has been your host, Carly Alyssa Thorne at CarlyAlyssaThorne.com. So thank you so much for being with us tonight. I hope you all have a beautiful night, and I look forward to talking to you real soon. Have a great night.